Hi, it's Therese and I'm here for Penny Black, and it's time to give me 5. Now that means 5 same but different cards, and today I've decided to use a fab, it's almost like a cover die, it's just a little bit smaller though, and it's called Leaf Pattern, and I'm going to be using this die in 5 different ways. So to begin with, I decided to emboss it. I've been doing this a little bit lately with my dies, and I really like the effect that it gives, and it still keeps a really nice and clean and simple design. I've just used a piece of white cardstock, and for some reason I crinkled the cardstock, so I just used my what's that thing, Teflon bone folder, and rubbed out the creases. There is some trace of that in the cardstock, but you can barely notice it. I've stamped out a butterfly, and I did stamp it out in some Memento Tuxedo Black, which isn't a very black ink, and I'm colouring it with my Copic markers. I didn't blend these particularly well. I didn't like the colours that I chose. I mean, I do like the colours that I chose, I suppose I should say that. I just don't think they blended well. I could have done a bit better, and I actually, looking back, pencils would have been a really good addition, but what I did was just persevered and kept adding colours until I was sort of happy. And it's a butterfly. Butterflies can be any colours, including BG on top of purple. It seemed to work. I actually liked it better once I added the BG to the actual wings of the butterfly. It lifted the colour and also added a different sort of a shimmery colour. I did stamp this with my Misty so that I could come in and stamp the black over again. I used the Onyx Black, and I think that looked so much better after I'd done that. I did fussy cut that out as well. Now I have die cut some coloured cardstocks here. You'll see them along the way, starting with this sort of greeny colour. I added some double-sided tape to the back of it, which was very difficult to pop them out. But I got there. I also die cut it a second time with some fun foam and joined the two together because I wanted this sort of 3D look with the die. I've added some matte medium to the back and then cut a piece of purple cardstock. You see the theme I'm going with here, purple green, purple and green, and just adhered that to the back. And while that was drying, I stamped and coloured out my little girl image, and this is from a stamp set called Hello Autumn. Isn't she gorgeous? So what I'm doing here is just colouring with my Copics, adding a little bit of shading, but then coming in with my, I do come in with my greys at the end and actually add a bit more shading. I think it was the T2 that I used, but I didn't complicate this because I am making 5 cards today, so I did keep the colouring quite simple. I've been using this colour for my hair on my images for quite a bit lately. I know they don't seem to go together, but it seems to work well, the 50, 33 and the 25. And she wasn't too difficult to fussy cut. I just kept my eye on the image and cut just a little tiny white border around the edge. Obviously I will list all the colours that I've used over at the blog, and the link will be below. I did add some double-sided tape to a piece of cardstock and die cut a piece of dark grey. It's not actually black, and used some other colours. So this is like a blue-green and a violet purple, and just randomly chose some of the leaf images from the die and stuck them in. I didn't make it too uniform. I did actually scatter some of the other colours about. And the green that I used for my first, the Hello Autumn card with the little girl on it, I did actually pull some of those off and pop them in as well because they already had the sticky back on them. I didn't do that again for obvious reasons. You saw the mess there. And don't these 3 colours look beautiful with the grey? So this happy birthday sentiment is from, it's a die and it's called Your Day, and I die cut that a couple of times, once in the fun foam and once in some black cardstock, and joined them together. and I also die cut some flowers and coloured them with some Copic markers, and that's from the Shall We Dance die set. I decided to go with a tone-on-tone background here for this particular card, and I used the die in a landscape sort of way. I did think it'd be really fun to actually cover the whole base of one of these cards with this die and use up different colours, but I forgot about that when I was making the cards. Maybe I'll have to try that for another card. I've used the Love and Roses set. This is the roses and leaves out of the set to add some sort of silhouette images, and I did pop them up on some fun foam as well. I like adding matte medium to adhere my fun foam. I find it's a little bit forgiving. See, I had to move it around. And it doesn't dry shiny. The sentiment here is from a set called Heartfelt, which is a really sweet swirly font set which says smile. Actually quite like the way this would make a really nice sympathy card too. Speaking of sympathy cards, I decided to make my butterfly card a sympathy card, and I've used the Snippets stamp set with some purple ink, popped up the wings of the butterfly, adding some glue dots to the actual body of the butterfly so that that sits flat on the front of the card. I've attached the panel to the front of a top fold card, and I just love the simplicity of this design. You could use any image really. I'm adding my green panel now to the front of a top fold card, popping up my little girl and adding a high sentiment with a black speech bubble. It's funny when you have an idea with a die like I'm doing here and just sort of repeating it, how it all sort of comes together as I'm creating. Sometimes I'm very organised and know exactly what I think I want to do. Other times I've got no idea, and today I had no idea. I just grabbed out some colours that I thought would work well together, and some products that I thought would work well with this leaf pattern die, and it just all sort of came together on its own, and I really enjoyed making these 5 cards today. So this Shall We Dance flower die, I just actually coloured the flowers with Copic markers and then cut them away from the stems. Popped up some of the flowers and adhered some of them directly to the card front, and then here comes the leaves again. I'm still using these same leaves with the adhesive on the back of them. How easy is that? And then I just added some enamel dots to the center and off to the side of these flowers. This is probably the most clean and simple of all the designs, or the most white space I should say. Thanks for watching, and remember there are lots of ways that you can connect with Penny Black, so don't forget to like today's video and subscribe to the Penny Black YouTube channel. Visit Penny Black on Facebook and Instagram, and also check out their blog and website. I've linked to all those in the YouTube description box below, along with my link to my personal blog listing all of the exact supplies that I've used to make these cards. I hope you've enjoyed watching this episode of Gimme 5 Same but Different Cards with Penny Black, and I look forward to seeing you here next time. Bye!